The United States is concerned by these sentences. All Egyptians, regardless of political affiliation, are entitled to equal and fair treatment before the law, including full respect for their rights to due process. Now, we won't have extensive comment on this until we've had an opportunity to review the verdict and the basis of the verdict, which we understand that the Egyptian judicial authorities will make public soon. That being said, Mr. Morsi, like all other defendants, must be afforded the basic legal right of due process. And the United States continues to be strongly opposed to politicized arrests and detentions.
Really? Really, really, really. Welcome to the Malzberg panel, ladies and gentlemen. The United States is concerned about political arrests and detentions in Egypt for the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. But they're not at all concerned about a U.S. Marine, a U.S. journalist, and a Christian pastor from the United States who's being beaten in prison because he's a Christian. That doesn't matter. We could do a deal with Iran because they're going to be welcomed back into the world of nations. But in Egypt, if you harm the head of the Muslim Brotherhood, we're very concerned. Joining us now on the Malzberg panel, Brad Hirschfield, author of You Don't Have to Be Wrong for Me to Be Right, president of CLAL, and Tom Borelli, senior fellow at FreedomWorks. All right, Brad. I mean, could it get any more aggravating?
Well, let's put it this way. You don't have to be wrong for me to be right, but in this case, Josh Earnest is really wrong, right? And I mean it. I think there is a different standard for Egypt because we support Egypt. And so we can hold them to a higher standard. It's not good enough they just not be a little less bad than Iran. But here's what I'm upset about. When Hosni Mubarak was in prison, little research shows, do you know what the White House said about that? Nothing. That's my concern. I want to treat each country on its own terms. Sometimes that's a little dangerous. But if we're going to do it, then where was the speaking out on behalf of Mubarak?
Because Mubarak was in prison under Morsi.
I understand.
And Obama's in love with the Muslim Brotherhood.
I don't know if he's in love with the Muslim Brotherhood, but here's what he is making a mistake about. The current government, the al-Sisi government in Egypt, is one of the most important bulwarks against Islamic terrorism we have.
And that's why Obama hates him.
And you got to take that seriously. And speaking out here, at best, was a huge mistake and demands an apology from the White House.
Oh, well, wait till, as he said, the verdict is officially announced. You ain't heard nothing yet. Tom?
Yeah, what can you say? Another example of selective moral outrage. Remember, Obama was silent, I think, when our Marine was imprisoned in Mexico, Tamarisi. And then also there's the doctor who gave us the lead on where bin Laden was in Pakistan. I think he's still in jail. So again, it seems like the good guys lose here. So it's completely selective moral outrage.
All right, well, you're both right. And although you're a little more right than Brad is, Tom.
I expect that.
Which we expect. All right, let's talk about
Up
today.
to the right.
By the way, today is Earth Day. Whoopee, today is Earth Day. Are you supposed to give something up? What is it, like for the ripping off Lent or something?
That's not Lent.
Anyway, I gave nothing up. In fact, I'm keeping my lights on all day. So they're on when I get home, and I don't have to put them on for tonight. How do you like that, left-wing nut jobs? All right, let's talk about this. You wrote a great piece, Tom, at FreedomWorks about the hypocrisy, the irony of Obama's climate change nonsense, which he's spewing in Florida today.
Well, again, Obama's changing the rules. Remember, it used to be global warming, climate change. Now he's talking about the adverse health effects of climate change. The reason why they're doing this is because public opinion isn't really swayed by climate change, so now they're trying to connect this to health issues. This is part of a PR strategy. How do we know that? It was from a document obtained through a FOIA request, Freedom of Information request from the EPA, and they recommended, don't worry about polar bears and melting polar ice caps, let's connect it to disease, and then voila. A couple of weeks ago, Obama starts talking about how his daughter Malia had an asthma attack. This is really, really emotional. You know, my God, the poor parents that have kids with asthma. There's nothing worse than not being able to see your kid be able to breathe. Right. But now they're going to blame it on climate change to get more support. It's outrageous.
It went from global warming, which since we're not warming, that didn't work, to climate change. And like Tom says, nobody cares. So now they're saying if we don't do it, your kids are going to get sick, like my daughter.
Look, they are issue shopping. There's no question about it. And that's a really poor way to handle something about which the country is this sharply divided. I think the real issue that bothers me the most is this is an area where the president has chosen, and it's his right to do so, but I think it was wrong to do, to exercise great executive authority around an issue we don't agree about. And even if the science is largely decided, which you guys may differ with me on, it's not the way to go. And I think issue shopping this to find what's popular is not going to even lead to the policies he wants.
All right, when we come back, New York City wants to decriminalize some crimes. Wait till you hear what's going on in New York. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in an effort to turn New York City into the hellhole it was under Mayor David Dinkins and prior, the head of the New York City Council is proposing some changes to the law. That's right, because we don't want to punish people who commit crimes. That just ruins their lives. So what do? Teach them better? Make them behave? No, just change the law by decriminalizing. And we welcome back the Malzberg panel, Brad Hirschfield and also Tom Borelli. And gentlemen, among the proposals being put out there, public urination. That's right, if you go to the bathroom on the street, it wouldn't be a crime. If you have an open bottle or open can of alcohol on the street and you're drinking in the street, it wouldn't be a crime. If you jump the turnstile in the subway, although I don't even know if there are turnstiles, I haven't been down there in about 15 years, but if you don't pay to get on the subway, that's not a crime. Why arrest these people? You're just causing, problems for their lives. This is going to, according to the police and many other experts, is going to wreak havoc and take this city back to its darkest days where crime... You know how many shootings there were over the weekend in New York in the 5 boroughs? 20 shootings. It's already starting, Tom.
Yeah, there's certainly going to be testing the broken window theory, which says if you challenge criminals doing small things, it stops bigger crimes. So they're certainly testing it. They're certainly pushing the envelope. I know the police commissioner is not happy about this. Although I will say some of these things may not be as bad as the others. Yes. Maybe you don't need a criminal record, for doing one thing, but jumping a turnstile is obviously robbing something. So I think maybe these could be done one by one. A civil penalty, getting a ticket could be as powerful in some instances. I guess we're going to have to wait to see. We don't have much of a choice. I'm glad I live in Westchester.
Yeah, but Brad, what Giuliani found out when he instituted the broken windows theory and he started holding these squeegee men who would spit on your windows and then wipe it with their sleeve and then demand money, or they'd bang on your windows. When he started prosecuting these people, taking them in for arrest, turnstile jumpers, urinators, etc., they found that a lot of them already had outstanding warrants, and they put them in jail for those warrants, and they weren't able to commit more serious crimes, and crime plunged. Now you're going to say, it's not so bad. Why? For what reason?
Well, unlike Tom, I do live in the city, and broken windows policing has a very solid track record. If progressives are upset they think it's unfairly enforced, then deal with enforcement. But it's pretty clear that starting with small crimes, whatever that means, actually does help prevent big crimes. I do think what Tom said is also very important. Lumping all this together is profoundly stupid.
Wait. Which would you lump apart from urinating in public,
Easy.
Drinking in public, and jumping on the turnstile?
Easy. Jumping a turnstile is theft. You're stealing from the New York public.
Yeah.
That's a crime.
Yeah.
Right? There's no question about that.
So you want to legalize urinating in public?
Urinating in public is disgusting. That's a crime. Carrying liquor in public, if it's enforced, listen, in London, people drink in the streets. There's much less public drunkenness.
The law says you can't do it. Why would you give people a pass?
Here's why. Because the law is what the people say. So what we're going to have to do
is
exactly what Tom says. We should decide together.
The law is what the people say? The law,
yes,
right now,
that's what democracy says. Either God gives the law if you're religious, or if you're and can live in a democracy like America, we make the law.
So you want a bunch of thugs standing on the corner who might be more violent and combative and confrontational and emboldened to rob you if they had alcohol. Now you want them to have alcohol.
I know it's more fun to attack me than Tom, even though we said the same thing.
No, he didn't say the same thing.
Yes, we did. And what we said is that making distinctions here is actually the way to handle this. What this administration and the city should be held accountable for is they are pushing a social agenda as if it's a legal agenda. And the two are not the same. If they want to have certain social concerns, that's what the polls are for. I may disagree, but they should do it. But it's not about the law. The law should remain the same by and large.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'll be interested to hear what all you folks out there have to say. Anyway, to the panel, to Brad and Tom, I thank you both very, very much. As always, spirited debate, and we'll speak to you both again real soon. Up next, it's Gimme 5, ladies and gentlemen. But first, you know, we're bringing back our viewer call-in segment here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So if you want to weigh in on issues like this, you know, should people be able to pee in public and carry open bottles of alcohol in public? I'd love to hear from you, but you have to get in touch with us first. Email us at callsteve@newsmax.com. Call Steve at newsmax.com, because we want to hear from you. Don't go away.